everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Upload Asylum. So, I figured I'd do something a little bit different here. I think everybody has seen the news, or anybody that's paying attention to me at all. I'm going to be a father. I'm going to be a dad. It's been a lot. I think anybody who knows me has seen a pretty tumultuous up and down roller coaster. You know, you never really know how I'm going to be when you talk to me. And I think I've spent the last probably 2 years trying to work out the person that I want to become. And I think my childhood shaped that. I think a lot of my 20s were trying to look back and try to figure out what the fuck just happened. It was Traumaville. That's all it was. The 20s were really rough. And the process of being sober and staying sober is now a different story. So now I have something to be sober for other than myself. And they say in the sober community, you have to find something bigger than yourself. So while in the midst of trying to find God, whatever that may be, to each his own, my version of that came a few months ago when I was driving home from work. My love thought she may be feeling some signs of pregnancy. I had already been trying to move up at work, working my butt off, just, trying to make up for all the time that I spent the last 5 years sort of treating my body like shit and working like shit and showing up and being ass at work. Just not my best self. Working on restructuring my image as a human. I was on my way home from work one day. She said she thought she might be pregnant. And I was, I had a hard talk with myself on the way home from work, because anybody who knows me and really knows me, like deeply, they know that I've wanted to be a father since I was probably in 5th grade. I remember writing a paper about it in 5th grade, and I had a really great dad. So the thought of being a dad has always been in my subconscious, just lingering back here. However, it was very bleak throughout my 20s. There was no belief in God. There was no belief that I'd find my person or my human. And I think a lot of people try really hard to find a perfect human being to procreate with. And I think perfect is imperfect. And I think I found my person. And the reason I say that is because I've been in some great relationships. I've been in some not so great relationships. And laughed, cried, screamed, and yelled in my early 20s, Everybody has a few toxic relationships, for sure. And I am not perfect, for sure. However, I think when you hit 30, you start to reevaluate how you want to be, or how you want to be perceived by everybody. And I'm kind of embarrassed about how I acted in my 20s, because a lot of people in my music scene probably look at me like, well, I've heard this for sure. Number one, I look like a dick, like chronic dick face type shit, where people think, he's conceited, he thinks he's better than everybody, whatever it might have been. But the reality is I'm extremely insecure. And that's something that I've really been working on the last 2 years, especially in sobriety, is looking in the mirror and finding something that I can love about myself. And what's funny is, as you stay sober, that sort of snowballs. It works off of itself. It builds. It's like good cancer or something. It just breeds in itself. And I think at this point, when I was driving home from work that day, I was like, wow, look at all the work you've done. Look at how different you are. And you know you more than anybody else. Nobody sees the ins and outs of the day to day. And even close friends, even, somewhat distant friends. And I had a real hard talk with what I felt was God that day. And I prayed for the first time in my adulthood. I remember praying when I was a little kid. We weren't religious growing up, but I remember praying when I was probably 9, just looking up at the sky and being like, if there is a God, please let Mom get me those Osiris skate shoes that I was hoping she would get me. But now it was sort of a plea for God to forgive me for questioning everything that came to me. Whether it was, suicidal thoughts on and off throughout my entire 20s, or just, essentially screaming at the devil and with the devil. There was a lot of time there I was just very bleak. Everybody who knows me saw that time period too. And it was very gross and very, I was drinking a gallon of vodka a day, of Burnett's, if anybody who knows. That's disgusting. Mixing it up with ginger ale and heading to recording sessions with Sidewinder, and just, they were at that point just like, yeah, that's Cody. What are you going to do? But it's sad. It was really gross. I woke up, I ended up, going to a stomach doctor, essentially, for what I thought was acid reflux. And then that doctor looked at me and he's like, buddy, if you don't stop right now, you're going to die. So, I've told this story before, but that day driving home from work in particular, I wanted to make amends to whatever being was up there or down there or in the air. And I prayed really hard. Not only for amends, but for the chance at being a dad. Because to me personally, I think that every human has the capability to be an amazing parent, to break chains that sort of built up through your childhood, came down genetically in your blood, uncles, aunts, grandparents, great-grandparents. It comes down and it sort of bleeds into the rest of us. And I think it only gets better, hopefully. It could get worse for sure. But in my eyes, I'm only getting better, or trying to be. And I think, I prayed that day that I could be a good dad. And I actually prayed for this baby to come. And really scary. It's one of those things. A lot of my friends in the music scene are extremely scared of having kids. Fair. There's never a good time. All of us are thinking well, I'm going to save up financially, and well, I'm going to make sure my credit score is perfect. Well, I'm going to get a house. Well, I need the nice truck. I need the blah, blah, blah. And it's dude, that shit isn't for the baby. That's for you. And I started realizing that as I got older, and I got advice from my mom saying it's never the right time. It's never going to be the right time to have a baby. And when I found out, it was a weird awakening and not scared. That's what I find so weird about me right now, is that I'm not scared. I'm only excited. Terrified, excited. It's a weird feeling. I've been training for this. I've trained all the emotional intelligence I possibly can. I've been through the ringer of emotions and psychologically, and watched my family have huge upswings and huge downswings, and I think I'm prepared to show a child game on life, essentially. Give my child a game on life. And I'm really excited for that, and I prayed for it, and I also prayed that day that I'd get the manager job that I was hoping to get. Now, again, anybody who knows me knows I didn't want any part of leading anybody other than like my band, maybe, for a long time. But once you get sober, you challenge yourself in any facet that you can. You start to find different things that you might be interested in. You start to really get a groove on, consistency and showing up early and, making it a point to look good in general, in all factions of life. And I prayed on that, and for the first prayer in my entire adult existence, we went home that day, and Megan came out of the bathroom, and she threw a positive pregnancy test on my chest. And I picked her up, and I swung her around, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. Which for a lot of my friends who are bleak human beings, they're like, no, I don't know. Well, I get that. And I'm not a Jesus freak by any means. I'm not, But, and then I woke up the next morning. I slapped the shit out of that manager interview. And it's like I had this weird power, like confidence level, where I was like, you're giving me the job. I'm getting the job. I already know I have the job. It's just a matter of when you're telling everybody I have the job. And I got the job. And that was the first prayer and first answered prayer within a couple of days. And I was like, okay, there might be something to it. Even if it is magic, even if it is coincidence, even if it is convincing myself it's something else, I don't care. Because it worked, and I felt better, and yeah. So I mean, that was about 3 months ago now, and something that's really fascinating to me is the idea of real friends. Sorry, 1 second. And so real friends. I've had people that I've been through the gutter with. You have your childhood best friends. You have your acquaintances that you like wish you were friends with in high school, but you weren't cool enough, or you weren't social enough. You've had the party friends. You have the stoner friends. And now it's been in my 20s musician friends, and it's interesting to see, because when I think about a baby, it's like the most scary thing in our society. Like when you think of men in general, all of my friends don't want kids. It's probably in the 90th percentile. It's like most of my male friends are either A, terrified, or B, not interested. C, would not be excited. They'd be like, fuck, my life is over. And so in telling my friends, I felt very scared, which is sad. Instead of like excited, like, because I knew I wanted children, and you kind of want all of your friends to like ride around you, like, let's go, you're a dad, you've been wanting to be a dad, you're gonna be a good dad, you got sober, you're killing it. You want that out of your friends, and you realize that those are the real ones. And you also find out who weren't quite that, and that's kind of ground shaking, to be honest with you. And I think some are in shock, which is totally fair. The ones who weren't interested in having kids and had different goals and stuff, I get that. But it's also like, it's heartbreaking. For example, like I have 2 older brothers, real life older brothers, and I haven't talked to them in years, basically. Um, and there was no congratulations. There was no even fake, you know, cool, cool beans. It's more like silence, and it's deafening, like loud. Um, and when there's zero response at all, it's like, oh, did you ever really care? Were you there? Were you there, but like you weren't there. Um, yeah, it's kind of scary to see, and you'll find ones that like you're surprised by how excited they are for you and how congratulatory, and it's it's wild. Um, some will come out of the woodwork just to say, "Oh my god, that's amazing," and it's like I talked to that guy for 5 minutes at the exit in like 3 years ago, and he's given me more congratulations than my brothers or my best friends or whatever. And it's like, this is the weird part about becoming a dad and being kind of the first in your group to become a dad. It's you're alone. Alone. Like all of these feelings that I've been feeling, the stress, my partner had a complication in the beginning of the pregnancy. I was fucking terrified that I was going to lose this miracle to me. And I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. And it's not for lack of like trying, because like the ones who were there were like talking to me, checking in on me occasionally. And it's like, what do you talk about? Because it's when I'm shuddering, worried about my child not making it, or like all the stuff I have going on, it's like, what do you talk about? It's all the other things, and then it feels selfish. It's like this weird guilt shame thing where you're like, why should they give a shit? Like why I didn't give a shit. Like 3 years ago I was just like, fuck babies, I wouldn't have babies. What are you gonna do with babies in this world? That's what I was like. And like, how can you talk to your friends and expect them to be like over the moon about how, as much as you are about having a kid, especially as a man? It's like girls like seem to like gang up with each other, and they're like, oh my god, she's pregnant, you're gonna have a baby. And it's like guys are like, well, I guess we've seen the last of Cody. Guess we've seen the last of him. And it's like, it's heartbreaking. To not seemingly have anybody. And I plan on reaching out to other fathers in the music scene to sort of get an idea of what their experience was and is currently, and sort of befriending them and asking them for advice and all this stuff, because I got silence over here right now. It's Silence of the Lambs right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's eerie. It's like a calm before a storm. But luckily I have like my mom for advice. I have my father for advice, and I'm very lucky for that. And this is like weirdly, this is the most time I've asked my parents for advice in my entire life. Like no other. My whole from 18 to 30 was like, I guess I'm just figuring this out on my own. But like now I'm like almost daily texting my dad and being like, so what were you feeling in 1994? Or like my mom, and like how do I properly deal with what my partner is going through? Like how do I be a good man and also take care of myself at the same time? And because I look at it like, if you don't put yourself first and put yourself in the position to succeed, you're not gonna, and your partner's gonna suffer because of it. So being healthy and grounded and like worked out and stretched and all your stuff has to be on point enough to where you're not leaking any bad, you're not bleeding onto your person with your bullshit. And these are things that I'm asking for advice, because it's hard. Like, everybody, no parents you're ever going to ask is to be like, yeah, it was a fucking joyride. It's like, no, it's up and down. There's battles. There's, conversations that are really tough. And you got to find a way to communicate gracefully and give yourself grace and give that other person grace, even if, there's issues going on. And that's love. That's what that is. Sorry, Bear's going to be playing with the toy in the background, so hope that doesn't bother you. But yeah, it's a very lonely, weird world for men. I want to talk to other men who've been through this, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. All the friends, it's like I have probably 3 friends that like check in on me, and like check in on me for what I'm going through particularly. And I'm not asking for people to check on me like daily, like, oh my God, how are you doing? I'm so worried about you. Blah, blah, blah. No. It's just very nice and like cathartic, and like feels really good to be me when I have a friend who's like, dude, how the fuck are you doing? How you doing? I'm worried about you. I love you. What's going on? You're having a child. That's fucking crazy. Even if you faked it to that friend who's having a baby, even if you're like, holy shit, bro, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's awesome. So happy for you. And you were totally bullshitting them. That'd be much better for that person, I'm telling you. But, yeah, that's something to deal with. It's something I'm sort of working through, just in case anybody was curious. Probably not, but, so yeah, real friends. That's a interesting one. Support system, family, disillusion. I sort of gave myself a huge distance between myself and my family as part of my healing process, I think. Is all I can really sum it up to. Is like, I left when I was 22, 23 to get away from everything that irked me about my family. Not only for, selfish grandeur reasons to like go be a rock star, but it's like I got away from everything for a reason. Just toxic behaviors from my family, and that I was a toxic human being for sure when I left. I wasn't nice to my mom. I wasn't nice to my dad. I wasn't nice to my girlfriend. I wasn't nice to my brothers. I was a mess. And just crazy. Just thoughts of grandeur, thoughts of like, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be singing for stadiums. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be Eddie Vedder in 1990 screaming across the rafters, and just like that's awesome. It's an awesome dream. And then you realize slowly as you get older, you're like, oh, it's not 1994 though. So like, as much as I busked on the street when I was homeless, I lived under Douglas Avenue Bridge. I was busking on the walking bridge every single day. I busked in front of, Second Fiddle, and then I got a job at Second Fiddle, and then I got on stage in Second Fiddle, and that still wasn't enough. And I burnt myself on Broadway, and that wasn't enough. And you slowly start to realize, you're like, oh, this is like a matter of chance, kind of. There's so many talented musicians out here. So many, like, unbelievably. And it's almost like, when I was 23, I was like, I'm the shit. At least I think I'm the shit. Or at least I have the passion of the guy that's the shit. I'm not that good of a singer, but it's like, I did believe that I had something, on stage. And but believe it or not, you're not the only guy in town that has the shit at all. Like, not even close. If there's probably 1,000 other guys that look better, sound better, play the instrument better, even have more passion than you. It's like, there's a lot of us out here. So you start to slowly shift your perspective. Maybe a couple shroom trips, maybe a couple nightmare breakdowns, maybe, job shifts, changes, and all this stuff. And you start to realize, like, bro, that was a 22-year-old's idea of an adulthood. And you start to realize, like, it's different now. It's not over. And that's kind of what I'm here to talk about, is like, that 22-year-old's idea of a rock star was awesome. But I think what's even more awesome is really doing it because I love it still. Because there was a time period where I started to hate it. Like, being in a metal band, hated screaming after a while, especially after I got sober. Really fucking hard to scream into the sky when you have nothing to scream about left. Like, all of my anger was pushed into alcoholism, hating myself every single day, killing myself on stage, knocking teeth out, getting concussions, splitting my eyebrows open. And when you've done all that, it's like, oh, I'm tired. You burn out a little bit. And so when I got sober, I had to completely reconnect with what I did this for in the first place. And I think ultimately it comes down to that little boy inside of me that's like I was a dancer. I loved Michael Jackson. I loved Outkast. I loved Chris Brown. I was a weird one at, in 5th grade. I'd be in the living room dancing to Music Choice. But I don't know what that means for me as a metal singer. But I do know that I still like to do it. It just isn't in the same way. It isn't in the same vein or for vanity or for coolness or cool points. It's not to look scary. It's not to look cool. Now it's more of, oh, that's one more challenge. That's one more thing that I get to do to challenge myself. So I can still take that vision from when I was 22 of like, I'm going to be M Shadows, or I'm going to be Phil Anselmo, or I'm going to be Corey Taylor. It's like, it's still a challenge for me that I would love to, go after. I want to be those things still. Now it's just a little different where it's like, I thought I had to be that one thing. Just that. And you slowly start to realize, like, you could be a fuck ton of different things. You could be so many things. And like, for example, right now, I'm an engineering manager. I fix shit during the day. All the time. Nonstop. I fix problems. I put out fires. Literally or figuratively fires. Like, I deal with employees. I deal with the upper management. I deal with, I'm dealing with lots of money now. Like, not my money, but the company's money. I'm dealing with all of that stuff. Now I'm going to be a father, and also I have the challenge of making music, not a backseat, but a passenger. Someone also in the car. It's like have zero plans of putting down the guitar or stepping away from a microphone. And I think some of my friends might have got that vibe because after I got sober, I had to step the fuck away for a second. I had to find out who the fuck is this guy, this fucking whack job that was like not a complete ruined alcoholic, but like getting there. And if it doesn't kill you fast, it's going to kill you slow, and you're going to look like shit while doing it. And it just wasn't fun. And so this sober thing has given me a new vision to Quest. As lame as that sounds. It's like, it's a different fire. And instead of burning orange, it's burning blue. Because, like, I'm fucking clear between the eyes, bro. Behind the eyes. Behind blue eyes. No one knows. Alright. But I'm curious on how other dads have dealt with this. New dads. Lonely dads. lonely in their friend groups. Like, none of my fucking friends have kids. So, like, talking to them about this is kind of a moot point. But just wishing they were excited a little bit or pretending would be cool. But to each their own. It's like I've stopped being so offended by everything. Like in my mid 20s, I was so like personal. Like everything's so personal. And now I realize like everybody's in their own fucking head, dude. Nobody's got time to think about you all the time. Nobody's got time to even, it's not that you're not important, but you're also not filling their time. Like they're not sitting there thinking about like, fuck Cody, his life's over. He's a part of our thing and we're gonna fucking... It's like, I don't think anybody cares that much. But when they do care, it means so much. Especially when you're sober. Because when I was drinking, I'd just come home and drink 13 Busch Lights and be like, I don't give a fuck about anybody. I'm watching this 1994 Green Day live and I'm killing it. Over and over again. But, I just... Yeah, it's been a crazy last few years. But the fire isn't gone. It's actually being stoked. Like there's like a giant reason why I need to succeed. And when I say need, it's because like not wanna. It's like I have to now. Because if it's not God, it's my daughter. God, that's fucking weird to say. Daughter. I'm having a daughter. Daughter. And I'm also terrified about that, to be honest with you. I don't know where I was going with this, but now, like, my brain's like, I'm having a daughter in this, like, crazy, like, sexualized world. In this crazy, like, weird, fucked up politics, socio-economical crap, and fucking everybody seems to be so volatile. And I'm having a daughter in the middle of all that. It's so precious to me. It's like a fragile, tiny little egg. And I'm like, how am I going to make this thing so safe? So safe from everything and everybody and the world. But I'm also looking at, like, when I was a kid, my parents let me, like, ride the bike to school. What they didn't know is I was taking a 7-mile route the wrong way with the homies, waking up early trying to go do some fucking stupid shit. And I'm at this moment, I'm trying to get therapy and figure out what is tiptoeing the line between protective and helicopter. Because, like, I'm kind of anxious attached as a person, as a friend, as a lover, as a fucking dad, probably. And I don't want to be that guy. I know those guys. And that's exhausting. And your child is probably going to do the opposite of what you're trying to vocalize to tell them not to do. So there's like a tiptoe line between, like, chill dad, who doesn't give a fuck, and Jesus Christ, leave your daughter alone. You know what I'm saying? There's a happy medium in there, and that's where I'm trying to think about now. Sorry, Scoop. Sorry, bud. But, like, I'm in the middle of all that and trying to figure it out and trying to give my partner the best pregnancy she can have and trying to keep my shit together. Emotionally, physically, I'm gained a couple pounds. I've gained a couple pounds. I've had some Taco Bell. But I'm not 238 pounds anymore. I got down to like 193. Now I'm back at like 202. Which is sad. I liked below 200. But, this shit happens. I'm not perfect. I got a little belly going on. But you start to realize, like, that's why it's like dad bod. It's like, you start to realize, like, that's why it is what it is. Because that's the real backseat. That's not even a passenger. Like what your body looks like. It's like, yes, I work out. Yes, I go to work and work my ass off, sweat, get at least like 15,000 steps a day. However, like lifting weights in my vanity, lifting weights makes you feel good, hands down, for sure. But doing it for the vanity portion of it, that's way back. I left that like months ago because who the fuck cares what, Ava's dad looks like? One thing I do want to be scary though. I like to get jacked and fucking that's Ava's dad. Fucking watch out, dude. Fucking watch out, dude. But other than that, it's like dad's gonna look like dad. My dad had a mustache and a mullet like most of your fucking dads in the 90s. And it was awesome, dude. Looking back at those pictures is awesome, dude. I almost want to grow a mustache in honor of the dads from the 90s. But all the fucking douchers down at Red Door and fucking Broadway stole that shit. And they're all having mustaches now. And they have the fucking broccoli haircuts. And I'm like, guess I'll just stick with the beard. But, anyway, yeah, that's what's going on with me. That's what I'm thinking about lately. I'm also trying to write a book and screenplay, which is a different medium for me, for sure. Although I'm a writer, I've been a writer for a very long time. I've never attempted to write a book. That's for damn sure. I've written some long essays, maybe like 11 pages, but not like 300, not like 500, not like fully fleshed out stories. Like I have never attempted that. And so that's another challenge that I'm challenging myself with. So I'm really excited about that. It's called Ripple. I got the title from my dad. I was telling him the concept of the book. He's like, you should call that Ripple. And I was like, that's got a ring to it. There's probably something else called Ripple, but, it's a working title. And it makes sense, contextually. But I'm writing from a new position, man. Becoming a manager, a dad, hopefully a homeowner, and musician. The processing is hard to compute. But I think if I do it right, it'll feel worth it. And it's never like you've arrived. You're like, here I am. Fucking made it, dude. Busted my ass. And here I am. I think I'll feel that when I see, like, even if I get, like, a mediocre house someday. Even if, like, I'm in an apartment. When I will feel that feeling is when, I'm probably right, to be honest with you. When I see, like, my daughter laughing her ass off with her mother. I think at that moment, I'll be like, yes! That's it. That's it. That's what this all was for. To give a little girl laughter. And just like a good life. Cuddles, loves, kisses. Spoil. Because I know Megan's going to have to be the bad guy. Because I am going to be wrapped around her finger. I'm fucked. No, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on not being a whipped father who's obsessed with his daughter, and lets her do everything she wants. But it's going to be hard not to spoil her, I swear. I keep saying the word daughter, and I'm like, holy crap. It trips me out, man. It trips me the fuck out. But I wanted to come on here and sort of talk about, in reality, what I'm dealing with at the moment, and sort of explain why I might have been distant the last few months, or, not putting out podcasts as fast, or not, showing everybody what the music I'm working on is like. I'm trying to delegate my time correctly for the baby, but also not leave myself completely behind. So myself is important, but there's something higher than me now that's very important to me. And so what's fascinating is I'm writing my favorite songs ever. Like, all the songs that I'm writing currently actually mean something. It's not some abstract sentences that I pulled out of my fucking ass because I was drunk at 3 a.m. and didn't sleep and was hungover and I had a breakup, and it's like, this music is coming from a place of, like, purity. which I haven't felt since I was like 10. Purity. Purity? Like a little boy just laughing, giggling because someone farted. So it's like purity. You know what I'm saying? It's, you get it. But, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's actually reached out and showed their support. And like I just posted a video of an employee who gave me like 30 outfits and like 300 diapers. I can't explain how good that made me feel. Like I almost teared up, and that's weird. And I'm on antidepressants. It's hard to tear up, but like that made my day. I didn't ask for it. I didn't wink at it. I didn't, even push the idea. And this person just showed up and did something nice for me and for my family now that I'm going to have. I am going to have a family. I've been alone on Christmases and Thanksgivings and blah, blah, blah for years because my family, like I ran away from them, number one. Number two, my whole family kind of shattered a little bit. Number three, there's nothing to go home to, it felt like, at least, for a long time. And everybody, like, down here seems to be able to go home for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and I haven't had that for a minute. And I know, like, my aunt, if she ever watches this, she's probably like, you're welcome here. And it's like, I get that, but also, sometimes you wish you just had your home, like, your home. You know what I'm saying? And that's difficult to, sort of extrapolate from and make sense of, but you're not going to mom's, you're not going to dad's. Pretty simple for me, and that's what I've been kind of missing. And now I'm becoming dad, and that's so exciting to me. I get to be pops, I get to be husband, I get to be son-in-law someday, I get to be just a person in a team of a village of people trying to put together a life for a child that's good. And that's fucking amazing to me. So thank you for everybody who's showed their true colors. Thank you to everybody who's supported me. And, I just can't express how much gratitude I have for that. I'm in a weird spot. I'm in a stressful spot, but I feel good about it. It's terrifying, but it's also like, I'm a risk taker anyway. So this is one of those challenges where I'm like, let's fucking go, dude. Let's go. Let's go. And on that note, I'm a bounce because I have to go feed my kitty. And then I have to go fold Ava's clothes, my daughter's clothes, and go search for houses. Love you all. New music coming soon. Bye-bye.
If I could wear your skin, could I see what you're feeling?